3, 2, 1. All right. Oh, let's turn that off 2 times. Let's do it twice because it's so dang good. All right. Welcome to the show, everybody. Take 2 because I royally screwed up earlier today. Happy, what is this, January 16th? It is a balmy -14 degrees wind chill in Arkansas today. We're not used to that kind of weather. So, yeah, it is cold. Welcome to the show, everybody. You know what we do here. We kick this show off with mamas commiserating on their epic mom failure moment of the day. And we have a write-in from Shannon. Shannon basically says, it was my son's 13th birthday, and he had been talking about all he wanted was a red velvet cake for his birthday. And his birthday's close to Thanksgiving, so I bought this cake and was so excited to surprise him with it. And I hid it underneath the table. This is not going to end well, Shannon. I can already tell. I hid it underneath the table, and we were celebrating later in the evening. So when I went to get the cake, I was so excited to surprise him. And on the box, it said, must be refrigerated. And it hadn't been refrigerated because it had been hidden underneath the table all day. So there was no way I could serve it. It was near Thanksgiving. The stores were closed. The whole house was waiting on me to serve this cake. And I had to explain to my 13-year-old, and 13's a big birthday, how I had screwed up his one ask red velvet cake. This is the best line of this epic mom failure moment of the day. He was gracious and forgiving, but let me assure you, it has never been forgotten. Shannon, thank you so much for sharing that with us. And letting us into what it's like to be a mama and try to get it all done. It ain't easy. And I bet our guests know a thing or two about that as well. They are both mamas. We're going to welcome them to the show officially right now. Welcome to the show, ladies.
Thanks. Hi.
Yeah, it is absolutely our pleasure. And we are going to, I'm going to share an epic mom failure moment of the day too. So we're going to get 2. We got 2 intros. This is like the day of doubles. We got 2 guests. 2 epic mom failure moments of the day. I told you it's -14 degree wind chill here today. And so school is out. And we're in a hotel because we're moving. So it's a 1-room hotel. And this is what my baby's doing right now. Say hi, Halliana. No. She's been in the bed all day. She's like, can I talk? I'm like, no, you can't. We interviewed Marie Forleo earlier for something. And she was texting me, can I get a snack? And I'm like, Stop. No noise. So that's my epic mom failure moment of the day. Sometimes you just got to put earphones on and say, let mommy get her job done. Do y'all have an epic mom moment failure of the day? Or your baby may be too young for failure moments.
I mean, he's eating dog food. More than once.
There you go. Hey, you know what? No judgment here. So we're going to jump straight into the questions. I have to say, and I'm going to shift the energy down a little bit, but this is the interview that I have been the most excited about doing since we decided to do this show. These ladies have a story that gives me chills. It may make me cry. It warms my heart. And it is absolutely my pleasure to welcome you to the show. And we practiced this right before the show, and I'm so excited I'm going to mess it up. So we're just going to be real right here. Jordana, am I saying it right?
Yep.
And say your name for me.
Jordana,
I'm saying it right. Okay. And then Gena.
Yes.
I don't know why in the South it's so hard for me to say that. Jordana and Gena. I mean, it flows like milk and chocolate. But anyway, Jordana, it's funny how you can know somebody through Facebook and through their business and then not even be able to pronounce the freaking name.
It always happens to me.
Okay, all right. Well, Jordana and Gena are, most of you probably know them. If you've been around the online world for any amount of time, you've seen their posts. They have been in this industry for a while. They are rock stars in every sense of the word. That they also are married and have a son. And that's what we want to talk with them about today. So let's talk about your businesses first of all, because it's important to know, what do you all do? Jordana, let's start with you. What does your business do?
My business is called Nourished Boss, and what I'm really committed to is helping entrepreneurs, predominantly women, really shift their mindset so that they can achieve the success they want in their business. Because I believe that like everything really starts at the level of thought.
Yeah, it's so true. So true. I completely agree with that. All right, Gena, tell us about you. What is your business?
So I call myself a sparkly lawyer. Because it's who I am. I know, right? It's who I am. I love sparkles and unicorns and glitter and all of that, and it just sounds better than lawyer. But then recently, in the past year since becoming a mom, I've kind of also added on I added a mom blog, and now I'm kind of getting into mom coaching because my passions have shifted a bit.
I love it. And so when you say mom coaching, tell me what that entails. What do you mean by that?
Yeah, so I just recently kind of discovered that this is kind of where I want my business to go. So it's anyone who is planning on being a mom, is currently pregnant, or who is a mom and they have a business and need support in running a business while trying to simultaneously raise a child, or with their pregnancy, planning for the baby and all of that.
Yeah, I would say you all know a thing or two about that, huh?
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah. So, as I mentioned, you all are married. Did you all meet online? Did you know each other beforehand? How did you meet?
We met on the New York City subway.
Shut up. It just gets better. When I think I couldn't love y'all more. Okay, do tell.
You can tell.
Yeah. So we both actually, and the story will tie into our son and his name. We both got on the F train at the Bryant Park subway stop, and I saw her walk onto the car, and I walked in behind her, and it's New York, it's a subway. I had my headphones in. You don't pay attention to anybody else around you, right? And I had recently stopped seeing a girl who was awful, and I was heading downtown to go out to dinner for my birthday and meet a bunch of friends. And for some reason, I don't know what it was, I was very drawn to Jordana and her energy. And I don't even know if she was gay, but it was just, I just kept looking over, and I said to myself, if she doesn't get off at the next stop, I'm going to go over. And I noticed that a girl that she was with was wearing a little tote bag that said, "Every dyke is a hero." And it was,
oh my God, this is hilarious.
Right. And for our first anniversary, Jordana found that tote and got it for me. But anyways, so I was like, well, her friend is probably gay and maybe she is. So I went over and I literally said to the girl, "I like your bag." And this struck up a conversation with her and then Jordana and everyone. And Jordana is very introverted and was not excited to talk to some stranger on the subway.
I like being anonymous on the subway, like most New Yorkers are.
Right?
Yeah.
You think you can be.
Yeah.
And then it turns out that, when she said her name, I was like, wait a second, I know who you are. I know of you, because the gay world is like this big in New York City. And
which made it even worse. It made it even worse. It got even worse then.
I love it. This is great.
And I got off the subway and I was like, oh, I'll find you on Facebook. And I
don't even remember that part.
I was very memorable at that point.
No, I was counting the minutes. She left probably.
So I sent her a Facebook message and invited her to come out for my birthday, and I gave her my number. And then a few hours later, you text me to say, nice to meet you, but
thanks, but no thanks.
Thanks, but no thanks. I'm home. She was already home and in bed.
I was on my way home, but I was like, there's no way I'm going out.
And I'm very persistent and didn't end it there and just kept
I still went home.
She still went home, but I kept the conversation going and asked her out for the next night. And I said to her, you have 3 options. We can go out for ice cream. We can go out for brunch on Sunday, or we can do all of the above.
So I was like, okay, we can start with ice cream. That seems like innocent enough.
Okay, I gotta know how I have not hooked up with Gena before. You are my kind of woman. I love it. I mean, seriously, if you run a business, take notes from this woman right now. Write this story down. I mean, she's like, you got 3 options, but we're going out. So
simultaneously, so I was a nationally competitive gymnast my whole life. So at the same time, I'm sending her these videos of my gymnastics.
This is hilarious. What do you think, Jordana? Wait. What do you think when you met this woman on the subway and you were like, I mean, by your own admission, right? You're like, I don't want to talk. I want to be anonymous. I want to just go away. And then you meet this firecracker in all the good ways on the subway who's sending you videos of competitive gymnastics. What goes through your head?
Well, on one hand, I was like, oh my goodness, she's like an Olympian. Because like I hadn't ever seen anyone do the things that she was doing on a balance beam beyond the Olympics. So I was like, that's really crazy. But I also simultaneously was like, this is so strange. Like, we met for literally 5 minutes, and this girl is like really like persistent so then I was like, have you done this before? Like, have you like met people on the subway before and like done this before? Like, is this like why are you? It would just seem, I mean, I wasn't dismissing my own awesomeness or anything, but I just was kind of like, I found it to be a little peculiar at the time.
Okay. All right. I love it. So that's how you met. How long ago was that?
4.5 years ago.
Okay. So fast forward to what happens post the meeting, post the gymnast videos, post the ice cream. Obviously, you all clicked, and maybe that's, that persistence is fate or the universe or God or Buddha or whatever giving you a nudge towards each other.
Yeah.
Then at some point, y'all decided to get married. How long have you been married?
Over 3 years.
3.
So we got married within 14 months.
We got married 1 year, 2 months, and 3 days later.
That's specific. Okay. All right. I love it. And so you got married in New York. Is that right?
Yeah.
And at that time when you got married, was that the only place you could get married?
No, but we lived
it was
there.
like we lived there, right? So it just made sense to kind of get married there.
Okay.
There
were definitely fewer options, but since we lived there, it's where we wanted to get.
I mean, I think in theory we could have, considered Pennsylvania.
No, it wasn't legal.
No, I'm saying if it was legal, we would have maybe considered Pennsylvania.
Our families are.
Yeah. Okay. I had misunderstood that part. Okay, great. So let's say you got married. You've been married for 4 years. Before we dive into the baby and what it's and what it's like to be two mamas, I want to talk about something that I've spoken with Jordana about. But I want to talk about the day that love wins, right? When the rulings pass that anybody can marry anybody, anywhere. What is that like as a couple who's been married for 4 years, as a couple who is in love, who wants this for all human beings? What's that like when you hear that?
Duh.
So it's not emotional at all. You're just like, finally.
Yeah, I think it's, I mean, like, I'm not gonna at all get started on politics, but I think that it needs to just leave people's homes. You know, I mean, especially as a woman. Again, don't get me started. But
get started. I'm gonna love it.
I think that, I mean, who is anyone to tell anyone who they can and cannot love? That it was, I mean, I think I was just like, I mean, no, when it happened in New York, it was like very exciting, like, oh my God. And then when
I actually don't even remember the day.
In New York?
Yeah.
Or Doma. Well, Doma was very exciting.
I remember New York, but I don't remember Doma.
Doma meaning the Defense of Marriage Act, right?
Yeah. And I had followed the case along as a lawyer. I had followed the case and, watched the documentary of Edie Windsor. And, so it was obviously very, very exciting, but also like, thank God that this is over of sorts.
Yeah. So do you feel like it's over? So do you feel like it's over? So post that, and I'll get political. You don't have to agree, but I will. We've got an idiot in office who is the least accepting person I've ever seen. And if you don't like it, then turn the show off. That's what I think. So there you go. It's my show. I'll say what I want to say. So do you feel like it's over, or do you feel like, oh my God, just go away already?
Do I feel like it's over? Like, do I feel like it's over in terms of
safe or marriage?
I do. Maybe I'm being naive, but I do. I feel like, I don't know. I feel like I'm being naive completely. Maybe, but I feel like I'm just watching a cartoon.
Yeah, I do too. In so many ways. I keep
I don't really take it Yeah.
We don't watch the news in this family. We don't read the paper. I am happy to be naive in that regard.
Yeah.
I can't do politics. I
Okay.
can't, you know, I can't. I
Yeah.
was so happy that I went into labor the day before, like, you know,
the inauguration,
so that I didn't have to watch anything. Like, he was born on the Women's March, so I literally wasn't, like, the whole time. I know, it's the best.
It's
so
amazing.
like, I was so happy to be out of the loop of everything, and I have gladly stayed out of it. And like, maybe that's naive, maybe I should be taking more action and whatever, but like, I can't.
I don't think so. I feel so. My family basically told me, you got to stop. Like, just take it out of your life, because it's making you so angry. And it was. And I was like, yeah, he wins, or they win, or whoever wins if it's making me angry. However, the day of the inauguration, I had a bottle of wine, and every time I got mad, I didn't have the glass, and then I opened another bottle of wine, and then I called my husband and said, I can't go get our daughter from school. Okay. I had 4 bottles of wine, because he said a lot in that 30 minutes that pissed me off.
Meanwhile, I'm having contractions in the hospital. And
okay, all right. I'll take my 4 bottles.
The pain, but nonetheless.
So thank you. I appreciate sharing that, because honestly, as a straight person, I don't know what it's like to be gay. I mean, that sounds stupid, but I don't. You know, I believe that obviously nobody should tell anybody who they should love, and all of the things that you said, but I still don't know what it's like to see for that day to say, you know what, the whole country says, whether they do or not, the law of the land says it's okay, and it should have been okay along forever. So it was a beautiful thing to watch on Facebook when all the rainbows lit up on people's profile pictures, and I don't know, it was very emotional for me, and I don't even know why, other than that's basic human decency and the right.
It's love. It's
love. Yeah. Right. Yeah. That's why I call it Love Wednesday. Like, I don't call it anything. I'm like, so on Love Wednesday, Love Wednesday, you're the only person who calls it that. So, okay. So let's talk about, so you have a son. Your son is how old? A year?
Almost a year.
He'll be 1 on Sunday.
Happy birthday. Congratulations. One of the reasons that, and I've said this, but I followed you online, you know, we're in some of the same Facebook groups, and I hear wonderful things about you. But one of the things I really took note of was when you all became moms. There is something that changes in what they post. Of course, you're changed as a person, but you can see the love that you have for your son in every post you post about him. And that's the way I feel about Halliana. Maybe that's the way all parents feel, but there's just something so real, so tasty, so delicious when you talk about him. And so how do you decide as moms, how is it even possible for us ignorant people in the South, for you all to have a son?
In terms of like being 2 moms?
Like biologically?
Yeah. No, not biologically. I'm sorry. Yeah. So yeah, see, ignorant South.
No. How did we have a baby?
So did you do artificial insemination? Did you always know who had the baby physically? You were having contractions, so I assume it was you, Gena, right?
But we did something called reciprocal IVF, which is where it was my egg. Yeah, it was my egg, and then it was Jena's uterus.
Okay, so I want to talk about the science behind this, because I used to sell drugs, the legal kind. I'm a science nerd. And so let's just think about this for a minute. So reciprocal IVF means that it's Jordana's egg, and then it's fertilized, right? And then it's implanted in Gena, correct? So you both get to have a piece of the puzzle, right? Like, biologically, it all becomes possible for you both to do this. It's amazing.
Yeah, it's a miracle.
When Jordana told me about this, I didn't even know that was possible, by the way. I was like, this is the best thing ever. Like, it's amazing. But Jordana, you talked to me a little bit about, you wanted to be the one who was pregnant originally, right?
Yeah, that was the plan. And plans, have a funny way of not being plans always. So yeah, I initially definitely wanted to be pregnant, and then it just didn't really seem to be the right call. I started lowering anxiety medication, and it really wasn't very viable anymore. So I decided to delegate it instead.
I love it. In that moment,
Yeah.
so I've been on anxiety medicine before. I know what it's like when you titrate off. I had a baby, so I know that struggle is real. It is legit.
Yeah.
So as you're titrating off that or coming down off that, and then you're trying to get pregnant, and then you realize this is not the way we need to go. Is that an emotional mess for you, or is that just like, no, this is what we need to do? We need to delegate.
No, it was a bit of an emotional mess. But I think that once the decision was made, it was like, okay, like, let's like move forward.
Yeah.
You know? So I think that there was a period of, I mean, it was a short period of time, but yeah, I think that there was some like emotional messiness, but I think that then it was like onwards.
You do what you do. You life coach, and you coach the heck out of that mind crack, right? And right. Gena, did you want to be pregnant?
Yeah.
You did.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, always. I mean, the initial plan was that Jordana would carry first, and then I would carry second because she's
okay.
Born. So I definitely always wanted to get pregnant. I wasn't planning on getting pregnant then so soon, but I offered at that point, you know, when things, you know, were kind of going south in the process. I said, why don't, because we've seen we kind of got immersed in this lesbian fertility community. So we know these women who had done this before. So I said to her, why don't we do this? Why don't we do IVF? And I first said, like, why don't I carry first? And then, you know, in case you change your mind. And she's like, no, I think that it would be a little hard for me if I not only gave up being pregnant, but also gave up on the biological piece.
Yeah.
So then we said, okay, great. Why don't I carry your egg?
That's amazing. Like, even that we can do that scientifically, it's freaking believable. It's so beautiful.
It's beyond. It is beyond.
And so when you look at your son, I mean, you know, something that 20 years ago, I don't know, maybe even 10 years ago, people would have said is not possible for him to have a piece of you and a piece of you in one beautiful little package. I mean, it's a modern miracle, even more so than just the birth of a normal baby. Not that he's not a normal baby, but you get what I'm saying. I mean, it's a miracle. So in this community that y'all talk about, I mean, the lesbian, you know, fertility community and all fertility community and all of that. I mean, it sounds like there's a fantastic support network and lots of education. And so, I mean, you rely on them heavily, I guess. Is that right? It's a stupid question, but.
No, I don't think it's a stupid question. I personally wasn't as immersed in it as Gena was. Also, like, my whole kind of fertility experience lasted 2 weeks. In terms of just like not donating. I mean, that's what they see it as, like donating an egg, like, you know, retrieving the egg and like harvesting the egg. And sounds very like, you know, scientific or whatever. But that lasted like 2 weeks. So I think during those 2 weeks, I was kind of like, you know, just like looking on Instagram, like what have other people gone through and stuff like that. But beyond that, I kind of wasn't as immersed after that.
I still have been.
Jenna's immersed for life. She's into it.
For me, especially being pregnant and going through, and like there's so many acronyms that you learn, and you know, going through like finding out you're pregnant, and then, you know, it's very different. Like going through, you go every week to the fertility clinic once you find out you're pregnant for the first several weeks.
Okay.
So get your blood work, and then you have to watch your numbers increase. So
and that's just for IVF though. That could be for anyone
too.
Right. But that's for like anyone with fertility.
Like,
right. This could be for like a heterosexual couple too. Got it. This isn't inclusive to the gay community.
Right. So, but it's kind of like, okay, what were your numbers? And what were your numbers? And you know, it's like, are you having these symptoms? And so it was really great for me as the one who was pregnant, and also I had to do an insane amount of shots.
Yeah, I've heard that. Why is that confusing? Everything's off. I'm so sorry. Go right ahead.
Okay. Yeah, I was like, is it me? I think
it's me. It's me. I see it popping up and I'm like, why? It's turned off. I'm looking at it, but I apologize. Go ahead.
No, it's okay. There was there was a lot of shots involved in my end. So to hear other people who went through it and kind of what they did to ease the pain, and, you know, was really, really helpful for me.
I like it.
And then to see the other women have babies as well. Like there are some women that I think will probably be in touch with, I'll be in touch with like forever from this. And some of them are now like on their second child. And, so it's really cool. And it was really, really helpful for me.
So I was going to tell y'all, we got an email, which is what I was looking at. I don't usually have my email up, but since it's beeping for no apparent reason, I guess fate is doing what it will. And it says, well, let me pull the right one up. I just closed it. Jordana and Gena, thank you so much for having their story on your show. It is one of the most beautiful stories I've ever heard in my life. And it's anonymous. I mean, I guess I could figure it out from the email who it's from. But so there you go. That's why we wanted to share your story, because it's beautiful. I'm going to ask a question. So I'm going to ask a question that, Jordana, you and I talked a little bit about prior to this interview. And I was mistaken about it. But I am curious. You all live in New York City still, right?
No.
You live in Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
Pennsylvania. Okay. When did you move to Pennsylvania?
3 years ago.
3 years ago.
Okay. So shortly after you got married, right?
Yeah.
When you got married. Okay. So anytime there's anything different, right? Anything different. And being lesbian, being gay might not be different, but it certainly wasn't the norm publicly 20 years ago. People are idiots about it. People are mean about it. You all haven't experienced much of that. Is that accurate? Like, you don't experience people's ignorant comments?
Just once with the photographer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There was a photographer that refused to take pictures of us because we were gay, but I didn't I don't know. It
totally was. You were like stalking.
What were you going to say
that it definitely, like, you were like fixated for a little bit on it because
yeah, but I wasn't I was fixated, but I think I was just kind of
what just happened?
Like, where do we live? Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
It wasn't as much like, oh my God, I feel personally discriminated against. Like,
right now.
Oh, I feel ostracized by, if anything, it was like everyone was ostracizing her.
Yeah.
I was just like,
which is how it should be.
Yeah, right. No, I was like
I was just
don't hire this
people like you that exist. Like, that's so crazy.
Because we don't live, we live on the outskirts of Philly, and then also near us is a very gay town. So where we live is not super, I feel like it's not very closed-minded people. But
and it's also not it's not like gay central.
It's not New York City where never, ever, ever in a million years would I ever feel weird, awkward, would I think anyone would say anything, look at us weird if we were holding hands walking down the street. Like, never in New York. Here, I think it wouldn't prevent me from doing that, but I think that.
But it's But I don't, I feel I've never felt discriminated against in a
maybe if we
way.
Came to Arkansas, no offense, but
Bentonville is progressive. You want to drive 5 minutes out of Arkansas? No offense taken, by the way. And you would. I don't know. I hope you wouldn't feel that way, but things catch up a lot slower here. Yes, that is an accurate statement. And I think this is not just really discrimination in general. It's not a male issue, a female issue, a gay issue, a straight issue. I mean, there are people who have said to me before, I don't want to sit beside you because you have red hair and I think you might be related to the devil. True story. So it happened. I mean, yeah, true story. Yeah. And I'm like, you damn right I'm related to the devil. Back up. You never know what's going to come out of these hands. The level of insanity that people have, and the more successful my business gets, the bigger that level of insanity gets. And so it's not just a gay issue or whatever issue. It's a stupidity issue. I get it. I totally get it.
But it's also how people are raised, and I think, you know what I mean? And it's not always, I don't think it's always their fault for being closed-minded. I've spoken to people before. Do you remember the time I got on the phone call?
Yeah.
There was a woman who messaged me.
I feel like.
A few people did, but I got on the phone with this woman. She messaged me and she said, I was raised in a very religious family and my brother is gay and I'm having a really hard time with it. And I love him and I want to accept him, but I don't know if I can. And I got on the phone with her and I kind of talked to her about my story. And I felt like, who am I to say no to opening somebody's eyes to what life is? We're normal people. We just happen to love someone of the same gender.
What a breath of fresh air. I love it. I love it. So I'm going to give I'm going to be respectful of your time because I could talk to y'all forever. But Gena, I think we might need to hook up and go shopping. You like to shop? Yeah. Like, I feel like maybe we might have known each other in a previous life.
We probably did. I have a shopping problem.
Yeah, me too. Jordana may have mentioned that. I met Jordana before I met Gena. She may have mentioned that. Not that you had a shopping problem, but that you like to shop. Not a shopping problem, but that you like to shop.
You wait till you see pictures from Parker's party.
Okay, I can't wait. I cannot wait. So
for coming.
I love it. I love it. That is how it should be. So I'm going to tell a story that I swore never to tell publicly. And I'm about to tell it here for the Kendrick Shope Show and for you all. And it's a story about my daughter and about how stupid I was, because we're talking about discrimination. We're talking about, sometimes when you don't even realize that you're doing what you're doing. And so I'm about to make a confession, and I'm going to get all kinds of hate mail. And that's all right, because we're going to talk about it. So a few years ago, Hallianna wanted to have a sleepover. Hallianna's 9. That's my daughter. And she wanted to have a sleepover. And she had a list of people with whom she wanted to invite, and it was boys and girls. And I said, and we lived in Arkansas, and I said, sweetheart, I don't think, like, we can have a sleepover, but I don't think that moms will let boys spend the night over here. And she sat there for a minute. It's one of my favorite moments as a mom, by the way. And she said, why not? And I said, well, boys and girls get married, and sometimes parents just don't like for them to spend the night together. And she looked up with me with these big eyes, and she said, but mommy, girls and girls get married.
Oh, I love her.
And I was like, yes, they do. And I had no reason that girls and boys and girls shouldn't spend the night. Like, I could care less one way or the other, but I'm like, and they do. And I don't know what to say to that now, because now, yes, and by that, and I agree with that. And by that logic, we should have boys and girls sleep over at your party, but I don't know what to do with that. So my confession is, I picked up the phone and I called my mom, and she's like, well, but boys and girls just don't do that because they get married. And I'm like, yeah, but girls and girls get married too. Like, what's the answer? And still to this day, there's not an answer, right? I don't have an answer, but it has been a moment of embarrassment for me that my child was like, well, okay, but yeah, girls and girls get married too.
That's so funny. I love that. So no one's ever allowed to have a sleepover then.
Right, sleepovers we didn't have a sleepover because I didn't have an answer. I'm like, let's rent them. So this is what I did. I way overcompensated because I don't have an answer and I didn't know what to say. And so I'm like, let's rent an entire movie theater out. Let's have boys, girls, pizza, cake. And so she's like, okay, great. And of course she has sleepovers all the time, but it just was that moment of where I'm like, wow, you profess to be so progressive and love everybody, and you just walked right into a stupidity trap with your own kid. Anyway, I could care less one way or the other. Love is love. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter if boys spend the night, girls spend the night. I don't care. But anyway, I digress. Okay, so usually at this moment in the show, we talk about, we shift back to people's businesses, how they can get in touch with you, how they can purchase your products or services. This was more about getting to know you all as people, about sharing your story. But I also know that you all do amazing work. And so, Jordana, if someone wants to find you, how is the best way to find you to learn about getting rid of the mind crack and living to their fullest potential?
You can go to nourishedboss.com.
nourishedboss.com. And Gena, what about you? If they want sparkly legal advice, are you still doing that or no? I mean, you're always an attorney, but or is it just more mom stuff?
No, I still do legal work. Most of my legal work, though, is like templates and stuff like that, because I can't work with everyone doing actual legal work because of the licensure issue. But my website has ways to contact me, and then also ways to purchase my legal templates. I do trademarks as well, but it's GeneviveShingle.com, and that's kind of hard to spell. So if on Facebook, I'm Gena Jaffe, and it's Gena.
I will grab the links when we're done and post them so everybody can have them. Thank you all so incredibly much for being here. At the conclusion of the show, usually we share one more thing, which is one step towards a dream that we are taking. My dream is to have this talk show be picked up by a major network, to have a studio, to have a team, and share people's stories like yours every day. This was my step today, sharing a story that is not really business related at all, but sharing a story about love and beauty and family. And so thank you for allowing me to take that step today with your story. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
When you're big and famous, we'll come on your real show.
I've already got you down. I have a list.
Not your real show. I mean, you're like your big show.
No offense. Yeah, I've got a list. And let me tell y'all are at the very top. Thank you all so much for being here. I believe in you. I believe in your business, and I believe in your ability to create anything you want. You can do this. And remember, at the end of the day, boys and girls can have sleepovers. It's okay. And love wins. We have this whole outro thing, but I'm not even going to try to find it. So have a wonderful day, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.